What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Loud Bostonian. Today I'm doing something a little different. I'm not going to be reviewing a movie. I'm going to be talking about some news stories that kind of have popped up in the whole geek world that I tend to find myself living in. There's going to be three stories I'm going to talk about today. The first one being the Kevin Feige story. Kevin Feige has just been announced that he is going to be not jumping ship. I'm sure he's still going to be super involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but he is going to be helping out by executive producing and overseeing the production of a Star Wars film. Now, you might be asking why? Why does Kevin Feige, the guy who does so much good for Marvel, need to be focusing on Star Wars? Well, it's just for that exact reason. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has been fantastic under his guidance. Basically, he has crafted every story, been a part of everything, made sure there was a clear goal as to where to get to. And that is the biggest issue that has happened with this new iteration of Star Wars that we have had, is there has not been a concise vision by anybody. J.J. Abrams came in, Force Awakens, and had a story he was telling, definitely set the groundwork for what could have been a really cool trilogy. Rian Johnson came in and did his episode 8, and there was The Last Jedi had a lot of backlash, a lot of controversy, because it was so tonally different than Episode 7, so tonally different than the rest of the Star Wars films that we have gotten, and it just didn't feel, at least to me personally, and to a lot of, I'd say half of the fans out there, it didn't feel like our Star Wars at all. This is because Kathleen Kennedy is giving these directors carte blanche to do whatever story they want to do. And I am all for that when it's an individual one-off movie that doesn't pertain to a larger universe. Rogue One could have been totally different than it was, and it would have been just as fine. The Solo Star Wars movie could have been anything it wanted to be, as long as the characters were treated with the respect that they had from the way that they would have adapted into the characters we grow to know and love. But this was a trilogy movie. This was a episodic movie. This was a continuation of a story, and Episode 8 needed to have felt like it was a continuation of Episode 7, and to me it didn't, and to a lot of people it didn't. So I think that was kind of the reason that obviously they're going back to JJ for Episode 9 now, so it'll kind of feel like 7 and 9 are the same movie with an offshoot in the middle for 8, which I guess you could argue that Empire kind of had a different tone than Jedi and A New Hope, but they all felt like they belonged in the same trilogy. So I'm not sure that I'll ever feel that Episode 8 belongs in the same trilogy. Now, I haven't seen Episode 9. For all I know, it's a fucking shit show. But in the off chance that it isn't, I imagine that I will feel that Episode 8 in the middle is kind of, I don't know, I want to say redheaded stepchild of the new trilogy or the Star Wars or anything like that, because it's a good movie on its own, but it's not a good Star Wars movie in my opinion. And because of this, I believe, is the sole reason that, and maybe, Kevin Feige, he's a huge geek, I'm sure he loves Star Wars too, but I guarantee you that they are thinking, if we can get this guy in to help, foresee future Star Wars films, we may be able to draw a path that these other directors can come in and have a cohesive Star Wars universe that feels as connected and as cool as the MCU is. I think it's a great idea. In fact, Kevin Feige, if he wants to keep working there, he doesn't want to, you can't imagine the guy wants to just keep making Marvel movies. I mean, they're great, but everybody wants to change stuff up and play in different sandboxes, and this is a different sandbox that he can play in and that he could definitely strive in, and I'm looking forward to whatever movie he makes. I know that there's a Benioff and Weiss trilogy that's coming out in the near future. From what I've been told, rumors that I've looked up, it's looking like that's going to be a Knights of the Old Republic or an Old Republic story, which is awesome. That's really what I want anyways. More Jedi, more Sith, all the stuff that I love about Star Wars. So I'm all for that. Maybe be like a better version of how the prequels were kind of received. Although upon recent rewatches of the prequels, I have a different respect for them than I used to have. I kind of like them a lot more than I used to. Again, that might just be because Episode 8 left such a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm all pumped for this Kevin Feige news. I want to know what you guys think about the Kevin Feige news. You think it's a good idea that he's jumping over to Star Wars? Is it going to affect Marvel now that he is not focusing on driving the MCU? And again, I'm not saying he's not focusing on it. That is a poor choice of words. But now that he is going to have to be juggling these different universes. So I think it's a great idea. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Let me know what you guys think about that. The next story is a story that dropped last week that I didn't get a chance to touch on yet, and that is the casting rumors, or the potential casting rumors, of Jonah Hill and Jeffrey Wright in Matt Reeves' The Batman. Now, on the nose, when I first saw the Jeffrey Wright one, I was super excited about it. I love Jeffrey Wright. I couldn't. As soon as it's kind of like the Rob Pattinson thing. As soon as I heard Rob Pattinson was going to be Batman, I couldn't picture anybody else being Batman because I was so stoked about what he could do with the role. You know, Jeffrey Wright is the same exact kind of thing to me. I am so stoked to see what he can do with Commissioner Gordon. His voice alone is such a way that I am giddy. And I use the word giddy often. I am giddy about imagining the conversations he's going to be having on rooftops with Rob Pattinson's Batman. I mean, talk about like, if there's ever a guy you can imagine being a grizzled crime fighter in Gotham, a policeman in Gotham, dealing with the stresses of that friggin' job, Jeffrey Wright looks like he's going to deliver in that regard. And there's a little controversy there. I know idiots of the world are out there all throwing their hands up in the air. How could he be Commissioner Gordon? He's black. Well, let me tell you something. Commissioner Gordon, although historically has been written as a white character, there is nothing about that character that states he must be a white man. Commissioner Gordon's entire thing is that he knows what's wrong with the city. He himself has tried to do as much good as he could, and he couldn't deliver the goods until Batman came along and was able to, swing the pendulum back to the good side of Gotham. Jeffrey Wright can deliver in that regard like you would not believe. In fact, any actor could. Not any actor. That's not true. Jeffrey Wright's a fantastic actor, so I'm selling him short. But it doesn't matter if somebody's white or black in the regard to Commissioner Gordon's character, because it's about what the character means. That character is meant to be the humanized, beaten down guy who couldn't get out from underneath this crime. And now that there's a spark of hope that people feel that Batman is giving back to the community, and not everybody's going to trust Batman, but he knows that he's doing good. That role goes beyond color. That goes beyond race. That goes to an actor sitting down and giving the performance of somebody who truly. Maybe he doesn't know that Batman is as good of a person as he's coming off as being, as much as he just hopes that he is. Putting your hope in something bigger than yourself. And any actor, no matter what the color is, can deliver on that if they are cast correctly. And I truthfully believe that Jeffrey Wright is the perfect casting for Commissioner Gordon. I hope that news follows through correct, that pushes all the way through, and that he is cast in this role, because I can't get him out of my head as being Commissioner Gordon now. Now, the other bit of news that came with the Batman, the Matt Reeves Batman, was Jonah Hill. Now, at first, when I heard this, I was like, come on, fucking Jonah Hill. To me, I always go to Superbad. I always go to his small role he had in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, get him to the Greek. I go to his comedies. I do. I truthfully go to his comedies. Having said that, I know that he is a 2-time Academy Award-nominated actor. I know that he can deliver dramatic performances. I know that he can, be a little crazy in some of his movies. So if that's in that regard, I'm interested to see what he's going to do. I don't want to say excited, because although I know that he's, Wolf of Wall Street, and Moneyball, I know that he's got movies where he has done dramatic takes in the past and stuff like that, and different takes than just his comedy bit. But again, not knowing who he's cast as, and I hope it's not Penguin, if I'm being honest. I don't want to see another fat guy, not to fat shame Jonah Hill, I don't want to see another fat guy just get thrown into the Penguin role, because I believe that role should go to Andy Serkis, purely based on the fan art that I saw of him being cast as the Penguin. He looks fucking awesome, and he's a great actor. I'd love to see him play the role. And nothing says the Penguin has to be fat. You can literally write in as long as he carries himself in the weight of a rich Bostonian, rich Gothamite, which is exactly what the Penguin is, who just is warped and wants to use his power for nothing but evil. That should be Andy Serkis. I don't see that being Jonah Hill at all. I don't know what role he's going to get pushed into. There's a million villains that are preemptively cast in this movie that the rumor mill has put out there. He could be a good Riddler. Now, there's nothing that says the Riddler has to be a skinny little guy, but I could see Jonah Hill leaning into a role and going a little crazy and being trying to be one step ahead of Batman and trying to figure out who Batman is. I could see Jonah Hill doing that. But again, we don't know who he's cast as. So this one I'm gonna say that I'm intrigued by, but I'm not excited for yet. As the rumors come out and the more news hits us in regards to what who he's playing and what the take is from it, then I think I'll be more excited for this as it goes on. And if the rumor is that they're doing the The Long Halloween for the story, or taking a big influence from The Long Halloween. There's a lot of villains that could end up in this movie, and I know a lot of people kind of like, well, you don't want to put too many villains in. What about the 90s Batman movies? They had a lot of villains. They weren't that great. That's very true. The Joel Schumacher ones weren't that great. But honestly, The Long Halloween's a really cool story in the way that it's a good mystery that Batman's trying to solve as to who this killer called Holiday is. And I think that if they do it right, they can build a cool Gotham where these characters can just come and go in random little cameos throughout the movie, and it'll seem seamless while you'll still be on the edge of your seat trying to figure out who this killer is. And ultimately, when it ends, you guys are gonna be like, "Wow, that's fucking great!" Because it's one of the best Batman comics ever written. So I'm super excited for that. If that is the route that they're going in, it's very original, and I know that he wants to do noir detective story. Matt Reeves, that fits in perfectly in that regard, and that'd be a cool take for Rob Pattinson to have. So I'm very excited for that. The final bit of news here. And I'm going to use my phone to read this article for you guys really quick because I think it's fucking mental. It's in regard to the Joker controversy that has just surfaced. Now, the Joker comes out in like a week and a half, and there's a big controversy right now over its release. Let me read this little tidbit to you right here. The Joker, a psychological origin story, was met with near universal acclaim when debuting at the Venice and Toronto International Film Festivals. Joaquin Phoenix has been praised for his performance, with early talks of an Oscar nomination already happening. But there has been some controversy surrounding the movie, with critics fearing it might incite violence, and now those concerns have even reached the U.S. military. There have been concerns about the Joker's content after its early screenings. Some felt that Todd Phillips' movie has the potential to encourage volatile moviegoers who identify with Arthur Fleck's sad life. The concerns were also raised by the family members of the 2012 Aurora mass shooting. In the letter to the studio, it turns out the U.S. military has also issued a warning about the movie's release and the possibility of another shooting once it arrives in theaters. Now, what does that news mean for you guys? That means that everybody out there is blowing this way out of proportion. This is a nothing thing. It's a movie, guys. It's a movie. There's nothing about this movie that is going to make somebody go on a mental break and start murdering people, okay? It's not going to happen. Unless the person was already so mentally unstable that they were already going to do it. The movie has nothing to do with it. This is another one of those goddamn stories that just blows it way out of proportion in order to try and blame mainstream media and try and blame film or video games or whatever you want to call it for something that was already inherent in a psychotic person. Don't be afraid to go and see this movie. I don't even want to shine a light on this kind of nonsense because crazy people are already crazy. They are not going to change their mind or their mindset based on seeing something that they in a movie or a video game or whatever have you. It's a movie. It's artistic interpretation. Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix did not make this movie with the intention of setting off a gun-crazy madman. They did not, okay? And with all due respect to the Aurora victims, I know that guy went nuts and he shot all those people up and claimed to be the Joker and all that stuff, okay? It's sad that it happened, but that kid was already mentally unhinged, okay? It wasn't because he saw the Dark Knight and thought, I need to murder people. It wasn't. He was going to do that anyways, okay? So I think as a society, we need to step back and stop blaming media for things that make psychotics go psychotic, because they were already like that, guys. It's a movie. Joaquin Phoenix is going to give one a hell of a performance, and honestly, this kind of film could do the opposite of what they're afraid of. I think it could shine a light on mental illness in a way that might make someone who feels sad like Arthur Fleck seek the help that they need rather than go the psychotic route that Arthur Fleck ultimately probably goes. But anyways, that's going to do it for me today. It's a little bit heavy at the end there. I apologize. I don't like to do videos like this. But the news just fucking hit me like, what the hell? This is a movie, guys. We really need to be talking about this. But anyways, I'm excited to see the Joker. I want to know what you think about it. I want to know what you think about the Jeffrey Wright and Jonah Hill potential castings. I want to know about what you think about the Kevin Feige news. Anyways, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave me some comments. I'd love to get in conversations with you guys about this and what you think of the video. So anyways, that's going to do it for me. Stay tuned because I'll be releasing a full review of Abominable later on tonight after I see it.